You know why I'm dressed in black?
No, and I don't care. That was the worst outcome possible this past weekend. But tell me why you're dressed in black.
Because it's the Detroit Lions funeral today. Hello,
Oh,
and welcome to a Super Bowl edition of Big Ben and K-Win. On Sunday, we saw the 49ers erase a 17-point deficit, and the Chiefs intercept Lamar Jackson's Super Bowl hopes. Many didn't think the Chiefs would be back in the Super Bowl again, and no one thought Brock Purdy would manage his way into the Super Bowl. Were we right? You're going to have to listen to the show to find out. Thank you for spending your Monday evening with us. Each week, we broadcast live across nofilter.com, Caffeine TV, and YouTube. Tonight, it's a little early. Super Bowl is about 10, 11 days away, but we're going to preview it here tonight. I'm K-Win, he's Big Ben, and he owes Brock Purdy an apology.
I don't owe anyone an apology. Brock Purdy has the best resources a football team could provide right now. America lost this past weekend. We have to see the Chiefs in another Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And the whiny Niners somehow made it in. Like on the demise of Dan Campbell, I mean...
The Chiefs whine more than the Niners.
Well, here's the thing, John Harbaugh, I said it. Go back to my claim of just stop the pan. Stop Travis Kelce. Don't let him beat you. And who beats you?
Travis Kelce.
I was trying to justify this. Mr. Harbaugh, you must not play against very good quarterbacks in your division. You're right. You had Browning towards the latter part of the season. You had Pickett and Rudolph with the Steelers. And then you had, Flacco or DTR or whomever it was. But still, stop the one guy that can hurt you on that offense. And he had 11 of 11 receptions for like 116 yards and a touchdown at one point. Just stop him. Just hit him.
Brother, little brother, because I think Mike McDonald's the defense coordinator. I think he's a former Andy Reid coach. Andy's like, okay, Mike, let me show you a little lesson here. And the Chiefs look completely different. They started the game fast. They continue fast. The Ravens made some adjustments in the second half on defense, but their offense couldn't move the ball.
The other side, I keep up with the Chiefs semi-regularly just because my wife's from Kansas and my brother-in-law is a diehard Chiefs fan. And he will tell you that there is a receiver 1, a receiver 1A, and they're the same person, Travis Kelce. Everyone else after that, you see Rashid Rice. But here's what happened. They caught the ball. Marquez Valdes-Scantling caught the ball. He sealed the game for him. Yes, the big ball. He sealed the game. Like he made the catch that needed to be made. And I guess that was the difference. To me, it looked like Harbaugh came in like he hadn't played. It didn't seem like the hype music ended until like midway through the second quarter, where they realized they're actually in a football game against the Chiefs, who had been to the AFC Championship 5 out of 6 the last 6 years, I believe. It was almost like they expected that the Chiefs were going to lay down for them, and that didn't happen. What was your take on Lamar? Like, are we going to get there?
It was 4 out of the 5 last conference titles, so I want to make sure our audience knows that.
Thanks, fact checker.
My take wasn't on an individual. It was more on a team. It was like the Chiefs have been there before, because they have been there before 4 of the last 5 years. And it was like the Ravens did the little, I don't want to say stupid. They made mistakes, right? Like Theo's barking over here. But Kyle Van Noy with the penalty, bumping Travis Kelce. You got Zay Flowers standing over the guy, taunting him. You've got like all these little things that happen that cost the Ravens the game. And then Lamar Jackson tries to force it in at the end where you don't want to turn the ball over. You just need a field goal because you need to score multiple times. And the Chiefs didn't make mistakes. Remember Mahomes used to force the ball all the time down the field, or he'd run and he'd fumble? Now he just takes what the defense gives him, gets off the field if there's nothing there, and throws it to 1A and 1B, Travis Kelce.
You're exactly right. You summarized it exactly right. A coach always tells you, don't do anything to lose us the game,
Yeah.
right? Like, just don't screw it up for us. Do your job and don't screw it up. And Zay Flowers, the phenomenal athlete he is, like, that's just something you do not do. Like, that's done when you're at Mississippi, and you score to beat your rival, and then you do the dog. Like, that's okay in college. You're a professional. And I'm sure Harbaugh is gonna. You got to live with that with the amount of talent he has. But at some point, I'm not going to say that's the lone play that cost them, but it's a big contributing factor. I mean, the Ravens were playing catch up all game, and their defense just looked exhausted toward the end of the game. They were on the field a lot.
And I don't want to take away his swagger or his moxie. Like, you can talk trash, but do it in a different way, right? Like, every wide receiver who gets a first down and goes like this, I guarantee they're saying stuff, but like, it's just not so obvious that you're standing over them. Like, there's so many different ways you could talk trash without drawing a penalty.
What about just giving the ball back to the ref and walk? I mean, Barry Sanders is the epitome of class, in my opinion. Every time he scored, never touted, never, and it's egregious now. It is after every play, first down. Like, just this is your job. I mean, say my job is to, I don't know, wash dishes. I don't celebrate effort every time I complete a couple dishes. Like, it's effectively, I don't know, it's egregious. And and you're right. I think you can do things within the confines of where the ref's just not going to throw a flag. Zay Flowers, that's not one of them. It's taunt and
Well, he stood over him, and I was like, all right, I don't think he's going to get a flag. But then he like flexed on him. I'm like, they got it. They got to call it. Got to call it.
But Lamar, is that the farthest Lamar is going to take you? Because you had a good defense this year, like a very solid defense. You had some pretty solid assets on offense too. You can't tell me you're wide receiver away from Lamar being great. Like, I just don't think he's the drop back passer.
I mean, you have Mark Andrews. Like, maybe you get Keaton Mitchell or Dobbins back, but I don't think that's going to make the difference. I think the difference is big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games, and that's what Mahomes and Kelsey do. Even though the ball is going to Kelsey, he finds a way to get open.
I think what we're seeing is you've got to be like, maybe there's a transition. Like, think about the quarterbacks that have won the last Super Bowls, right? We got Stafford, we got Mahomes for the most part, Brady. These guys are traditional drop back passers. Everyone gets like Justin Fields-ish, like, wow, we need the mobility within them, get out and get us first downs. And until one wins a Super Bowl, then I don't think you should be looking at anything different than, say, a Patrick Mahomes who can get you a first down with his feet. And Brock Purdy did the same thing on the other side. So I think Lamar's hit his ceiling, to be honest.
I go back and forth on this because, like, I feel like he took the next step forward during the regular season, but everyone's judged on the postseason, and he regressed a little bit in the postseason.
Honestly, I think the Chiefs wanted him to run. Like, they wanted him to run, and you can scheme that pretty easily. Like, have your edges get deeper so that he has some running lanes effectively. But that takes him out of this pass first mode. It's like, oh, I'm getting chunk yardage on runs. I'm going to continue to do it. I don't know. I think a lot of everyone thought the Ravens were going to win this. Actually, I think a lot of people just didn't want to see Kansas City win.
I did not want to see Kansas City win. And I was ready to come on here and talk about Lamar's legacy. If he got to the Super Bowl, he's got 2 MVPs. He's got to the Super Bowl. Now I might have to compare him to Carmelo Anthony. Great regular season, great accomplishments, great points, great stats. But in the playoffs, that's when your legacy takes it to the next level. And we just haven't seen it yet.
Does T Swift bump Usher from the halftime show? She's already going to be there already.
She's going to do her own concert in the suite, and everyone's going to try to get into that suite.
She's going to field the spheres or the orb or whatever we're calling it throughout the week. Congratulations, by the way. Good win for
Niners,
the Niners.
it was not looking good. Jen and
What
I
were you
planned
doing?
the
I
whole
almost
day.
texted you.
What was that?
What were you doing as a Niners fan? Where did you watch the game?
So walked Theo, got back at 3:45. Jen and I were going to watch the game at home and then go to like a bar for the second half. The first quarter, the second quarter, I was pissed. I'm like, we're not going out. We're not going out. She like went downstairs and changed. I was like, just kidding. We're going out, but I'm not very happy. We go out and the momentum changed. Maybe we just need to get out of the house. Got
New
to a
scenery.
bar, went to a crowded bar, and it was just too much. So we went to like the empty bar that had the sound on, and we sat there. And then in the third quarter and the fourth quarter, they slowly started to come back. And surprisingly, there was a lot of Niners fans out. And I just was like, one more score, one more score. And a lot of people are all over Dan Campbell today and yesterday about going for it on fourth and all this. I actually admire him, right? Like, he did not cower in the pressure. Like, the Lions' identity is going for it on fourth down all season long. Like, his famous quote is like, bring some diapers.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what's going to happen if you're watching it. And it could have gone the other way. Like, Reynolds missed the ball. Jameson Williams missed the ball. Like, fortunately, everything went wrong for the Niners in the first half, but that didn't matter because everything went right for them in the second half. And I think the Lions just ran out of time.
I think Dan Campbell knew full well it was going to who had the ball last with the lead. Like, you could see that taking place. Like, he didn't shudder when they tied the score in the third quarter. He's like, I saw this coming, right? Too many good weapons. Strahan actually at halftime used the term house money, and I've used this a lot of times. Dan Campbell seemed like he was playing with house money the entire game. And with house money, what do? You're the guy that goes and plays 5 numbers on the roulette, hits like 2 in a row. All of a sudden, you're up a good amount, and you think that whatever you touch is going to be turned to gold, and maybe you do. But then you find yourself in the high limit, slots section throwing, $250 spins, and then all of a sudden you're out of money. I just don't think Dan Campbell had a different script, like you said. He didn't have the I'm going to go all in all the time. Dan, you're up some money. Maybe you should stop and walk out of the casino. He's like, no.
You should just kick a field goal.
Yeah, maybe you go play the penny slots over here and have a Diet Coke. That's not Dan Campbell. And you're right. I don't know if I admire him as much as he really wanted to prove that theory right.
Yeah. It was almost like he was so far down on that path, he could not change direction or course. I knew he was going to go for it on fourth both of those times. Even after he got stopped the first time, the second time I knew he was going to go for it on fourth again. And if he would have converted, we probably would be having a different show right now.
Josh Reynolds drops, you mentioned those. Those are big. Like, those are just ones where you sit there and go, we put the guy in the right place, the right time. There's the throw. He missed it. Like that. Those types of things change the momentum. And for the coaches sit there and just grin, because probably 9 out of 10 times he's going to make that catch.
Yeah.
But the fact he doesn't, the momentum that takes place, it's just turnover. Here we go. Right now, your defense is back on the field. Now you're on your heels. God, and all of Detroit for that first half were just going bananas.
Yeah, it's a game of inches, right? The tight end, I think that was his first catch on the Lions this year. I don't know his name because he doesn't play that much. Stepped out of bounds instead of getting in the end zone, and the clock ran off, and then Purdy throws it off the helmet perfectly, and it ricochets to IU. Like, once that happened, I was like, all right, I think
we're going to do this.
To now move forward and give us some confidence, because then that was the second score, and then the fumble after that, and then the momentum just completely changed to the Niners. And it was almost like they were playing from behind, playing a little scared, like, how are we going to stop this team? How are we going to keep up with the explosive Lions? And then they got back into the game. They got it to 10. And then from there, the defense took over, and Michael Vick Purdy, used his legs to scramble. Say what you want about him. System quarterback? Nope. I'm calling him a Super Bowl quarterback. He made the right plays at the right time. I've said it all along. He's not elite. He's not garbage. He's not a system player. He's a very good quarterback.
I'll give him that. His biggest throw was literally deflection off the other players and his wide receivers awaiting arms. And he did have a lot of time to throw the ball. Dre Greenlaw was seen just absolutely obliterating his helmet, I think, after the Lions had gone up 17-3, I believe. And I think there's just this, we got to figure something out. Like, people, we're just not in the right places. And if you saw the first, it was almost the first, it seemed as though the first maybe 10 to 15 plays were scripted. And they were misdirection and kind of had guys in different areas, and they were big chunk plays moving flawlessly through it. And then I think after that kind of script played out, you saw the game normalize quite a bit. Yeah. Like, okay, this is back to the Lions that we have seen on tape, that we, you know, they went as far as they could, I think, with a script that they didn't necessarily show throughout the regular season, if that makes sense. Like, the Niners hadn't seen a lot of what they saw those first probably 3 possessions. And once that stopped taking place and there wasn't all the, you know, misdirections and planned plays, then I think the Niners showed, you know, at that point it was who has the best athletes, team, weapons. Shanahan's got a lot of weapons.
A lot of weapons. The Lions have a lot of weapons. And I know you shouldn't say this, but like, I feel like the Niners should be favored not only through Vegas and our podcast, but in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. Like, I just feel like the matchup against the Lions was not good. The Niners can't really stop the run. And the Lions got 2 guys, Gibbs and Montgomery, that are going to run all over you. The Chiefs has Pacheco, but I feel like they just use Pacheco just to kind of like change it up here or there. He's not going to really go for 100 yards. He's going to go for like 50 yards. I feel like matchup should be in the Niners' favor. Obviously, you have to go out and prepare and slow down Kelsey, but I feel better now that they face the Lions. They face that offensive power going against the Chiefs.
Well, let me ask you this. Would you rather face the Lions again, or would you rather face the Chiefs?
Chiefs. I do not want to see the Lions ever again.
They were dangerous. I don't think I want to address your. So Dan Campbell would be absolutely underwater today if they didn't cover. So the Niners were a 7.5 point favorite. Luckily, that catch by Jameson Williams allowed the cover to take place. Like, Dan Campbell keeps going for 4th, and the bettors don't cover, he's done. Like, he's you know, he's getting roasted. He covered his butt a little bit for the most part there by covering. When it comes to betting, I think we're going to see the line. I don't think we're going to see the line. I think we know who each team is. Debo getting healthy, I think, might help the Niners, but I agree with you. Pacheco is. I think Mahomes and Kelsey amount for like 80% of the total offense.
Yeah.
Pacheco's the other 19, and then the rest of the team's the other 1%. Like, whereas I think the Niners, we've seen what Debo can do. He's becoming he's a wide receiver 1, in my opinion. Kittle, and then McCaffrey. It's just a beast. Like, I don't think a lot of players on the Chiefs would start for the Niners, if you know what I'm saying.
No, I hear that. And the Chiefs are a great team, but I just feel like the matchup is so much better for the Niners this time around. And I think you've got Warner and Greenlaw who can slow down Kelsey. I think there's not really anyone else on the Chiefs that can beat you. And if you see Mahomes, you said it like 2 weeks ago, like, he's running for his life. It's like Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. Like, he's got to scramble around because he doesn't trust his offensive line. One of his tackles has the most penalties in the league. Like, Mahomes has got to run around, and it's backyard football, and he's looking for Kelsey. And the Niners have Chase Young and Bosa and Kinlaw coming. This Super Bowl might be a lot like the Super Bowl when the Chiefs played the Bucs, and the Bucs.
Or when the Or when
Swarm.
or when the Seahawks play the Broncos, I think too is what we could see. Like vaunted Peyton Manning, and then I'll see you knock him in the face. Let's draw parallels to Peyton Manning and Patrick Mahomes. You hit them in the face, they snap it over their head, and the game's over, 42-8. I think I could see that same thing. And here's a big contributor to that: they're playing in a dome, and I say that in the you go look at the way the Chiefs has won in the playoffs. It's been ugly in ugly weather. Come to Kansas City and play that. No one wants to go to Kansas City and play. Miami wanted to get back on the plane as soon as it landed. They didn't want to be there. And now you have a team where you got Debo, like we said, Kittle, Ayuk, Caffrey.
Even Juszczyk is big out of the backfield catching balls too.
Juszczyk would be option 1B for the Kansas City. He's a fullback. Like, let's be honest. I think what you said earlier is right. The talent San Francisco has is far superior to the Chiefs, and the talent that the Lions have is far superior to that of the Chiefs.
Yeah, a lot of people were talking about the AFC. The AFC is so stacked. I think the AFC has more parity than it's ever had, but I think the NFC at the top with the Lions and the Niners are so much better. We saw the Super Bowl last week. It was the Niners versus the Lions. This is a formality. Brock Purdy and the Niners are going to win the Super Bowl. This is a rematch of the 2020 Super Bowl too, by the way. A lot of the same players on both sides. No Jimmy G, thank God.
Now, what if Brock can't get it done? Do we call him Jimmy? I do want to say this. Well, before I ask that question, what are you, as a Niners fan, are you even worried?
Worried about the team or worried about
what worries you? If you're I'm going to put you in Mike Shanahan's pajamas. You're going to bed at night. What keeps you up?
What keeps me up is if the Chiefs, a veteran team, get off to a fast start and then the Niners have to play catch up. And I'm worried about doing that in a big time game with all of the nerves of the Super Bowl. I mean, as much as I do love Brock Purdy, and I think he is a very good quarterback, he struggled against the Packers. Some could say it was the rain, but he struggled against the Packers. And he struggled early on against the Lions as well. So that's what worries me, is a fast start by the Chiefs. On the flip side of it, I think the Niners have to get the ball and they have to run McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell. Just run. Some jet sweeps with Debo, some underneaths with Kittle and Ayuk, but they should run the ball and they should control the ball.
Okay. I was gonna say there's a simple solution for your not being able to sleep at night. That's win the coin toss and just take the ball and go score. I mean, it's that. What are you doing for the game? Have you already mapped out?
I didn't yet.
Like, what are the options? Let's talk through them. You're a Niners fan. This doesn't come all too often. I mean, once every 7 years on average.
It's like every 5 years. It does come a lot for us. We just haven't won in a long time.
Okay. So what are you going to do differently this time than previous times?
Previous time I was at a wedding. I think our listeners know I was at a wedding and I missed most of it. And then I watched the second half on a phone with a Chiefs fan who was just grinning at me. So that wasn't enjoyable. So this year, either have no one over, just me, Jen, and Theo, order some pizza and just watch the game. Option 2, have a little party, right? Might as well. Option 3, which I'm hoping for, is someone invites me to their house so that I can go to their house. I can eat their pizza there and leave. That's what I want, option 3. So what are you doing? Can I fly up to Seattle?
I just texted my brother-in-law, see you in Vegas, and we'll see what he comes back with. In all likelihood, no one up here is going to care. The Niners.
What about all the Swifties?
Carissa was concerned about how Taylor Swift's going to get to the Super Bowl from Korea or something like that along those lines. But she'll be interested in Usher. I'm with you. I'm hoping that I get the opportunity to make something cool when I say cool, like cowboy dip or, cowboy casserole or whatever. And then I can just take it to a friend's, and hang out and then, maybe do some square. Like I'm into the accoutrements of the Super Bowl. Do some squares, you get some, I don't know.
You got the
You,
commercials,
you
right?
get the commercials. Yeah. You do something, you get some gambling involved and a way to keep it fun and light. That's my hope. And then you're home like 10 minutes after the game. Like I'm trying to find locals. Like if someone has a party, it's like you kind of wait for 2 to 3 days before and then see if one closer to you is happening. So
Nice. Should we wrap this up?
we should, but I never did talk about Magic Mind.
Oh wow. Yeah, you should talk about it right now then.
Oh, let me talk about Magic Mind. See, here's the difference. Magic Mind. Dan Campbell takes Magic Mind. He's up by 17. All right, let's slow it down. Let's control the ball. Let's not turn it over. Let's turn on the Magic Mind. He's on that all caffeine kick. Just go, 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 and crash. With Magic Mind, it's sustained. It's all natural. It's vegan. It's non-GMO. It's everything you could ever want out of we're not going to call it an energy drink, a health shot, if you would. Small vial, easy to take, easy to consume. And we got one more day, couple more days in January where we're going to offer you 20% off a 3-month subscription. And all you need to do is go to www.magicmind.com/Jan, JANWST, and then enter the code WST20. And you'll get all hooked up with your subscription on Magic Mind. Just keep it going. You'll see how good you get. You might be an NFL head coach by the time your subscription runs out. magicmind.com/Jan, JANWST, and then enter the code WST20 to get going on Magic Mind. Man, I might bring that to the Super Bowl party.
You should. Great little energy boost. It helps me with caffeine. I have those ups and downs. Magic Mind keeps me steady. So don't miss out on this January promotion. Magic Mind, endorsed by Big Ben and K-Win.
All right, we'll wrap this up. I'm going to be honest with you. I enjoyed talking about the Super Bowl and our thoughts and opinions and potential scores and who's going to win. You believe the Niners are going to win. I believe the Niners are going to win as well. But this is the extent of which I really want to talk about it. Like I don't know if if you're not in it nor tied to it or affiliated with it, and it's your rival. Like, were you happy when the Seahawks made the Super Bowl?
Yeah, because you were happy.
Oh, okay, then I'm happy for you.
We do have an episode coming out next week. Our boy Delvin Cox from Miami. We always talk to him around Super Bowl about the halftime show, the puppy dog bowl, the lingerie bowl. So that's coming in a week. And then after football, I know a lot of you just started listening to us because of football. We got you covered with the NCAA tournament. We got basketball. We got baseball. We got a lot of action. OKC Thunder. I think they moved up to first place in the West.
They got beat by the Pistons the other day, but that's fine. Yeah, they're number 1 seed. And then the NCAA tournament is going to be just close your eyes and start picking because there is a lot of parity in basketball. My Cougs, a lot of what are they, quad 3? We're big in the quad 3 and the quad 1 wins lately. So
close your eyes and pick them. That's what Steve Kerr does to pick his starting lineup nowadays for the Warriors. They're in what, 12th place right now? 1 game above the Grizz, who are playing without Ja Morant and Desmond Bane. It is not looking good up in the Bay.
I think Clay's going to just get on a catamaran and sail off after this season, and we won't see him for 4 years. That might be the case. What if the Niners lose and the Warriors don't make the playoffs and the Giants stink again? Well, not too good in the Bay.
Once football season's over, it's not looking pretty in the Bay Area because the Warriors are in a world of hurt, and the Giants. I mean, I have my whole theory on the Giants. I might save it for another podcast.
Do it.
But
you got
are a Ponzi scheme. They're not signing any players. They're not doing anything.
Oh, come on. You want to talk Ponzi scheme? Look at the Mariners. I think we got every injured person on clearance. The nearly spoiled meat section at the that's where we're picking up our players from. Like,
at least you're picking up players I look at the Giants transaction log. It's like sign minor league contract, minor league contract, minor league contract. I'm like, who are they going to sign to a major league contract?
That I can't tell you. I'm not in baseball mode yet. I'm just resentful at the Mariners for not spending any money, which is maybe a third of the Dodgers payroll would be nice.
You got Mitch Haniger back.
We did get Mitchie back. It's nice to see Mitch. It's nice to see man. It's just welcoming. They're turning the clock back 3 years, and they're just going to restart it, and the playoff run will somehow end there. I don't know. All right, Big Ben and K Win. Find us on social media. We are on Threads. We are on Instagram. We are on TikTok. We are on X, and we are on
Facebook.
YouTube.
My mom and your mom.
YouTube. My daughter pulled up YouTube and said Dada because it was up there for some reason. It's pretty. We're on YouTube, and then we are also on Caffeine TV. Just go to Caffeine TV. You'll find us, Big Ben K Win, part of No Filter Network. They're all at Big Ben K Win _, but you don't need the underscore because when you search, you'll just find Big Ben K Win.
Well, we're probably trending anyway, so just type in Big Ben K Win. But if you really, really want to find us, at Big Ben K Win _. And we're out. Boom.
Great episode.
Great episode.
Go Chiefs and Niners.